Can you describe your menopause in one word?
Oh God. Hello, Dr. Potter. Nice to see you.
Can I ask you a few questions quickly while
Yes,
we're here
you
together?
can.
So what surprised you most about menopause?
I think the thing that surprised me most about menopause was that it happened in my 40s, in my early 40s, and I wasn't ready or expecting it.
If you had been ready and you were expecting it, whether things would have been different.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'd have had some kind of education in what to expect, then it wouldn't have been so scary, so lonely, and I wouldn't have felt so out of control for so many years.
Do you think you would have got years of your life? You wouldn't have lost years of your life.
I think it just would have been different. It would have been very different. It would have been much more manageable. I would have been nicer to be around. I wouldn't have been so fearful going into work situations and turning down jobs, because your brain basically short circuits and it starts to play tricks on you, and the confidence was at rock bottom because it was so confusing what was happening to me. I try not to look back with those sort of really sort of, negative, years of my life lost, but I definitely think I would have handled things a lot better.
What was the weirdest symptom that you experienced?
The weirdest symptom, gosh, they're all weird and wonderful and changing all the time.
Or one that you didn't think was menopause until you knew otherwise?
I think things like vertigo, I didn't know that was menopause. And that was one of the earliest signs when I look back now. I can recognize now as a menopausal or perimenopausal symptom. I think perhaps the tinnitus. But then, it's just there's a whole plethora of different signs and symptoms that hit me across the head.
And have they got better?
Yes, absolutely. Everything's improved. I still have to manage it. I am on HRT, so I still have to manage my anxiety from time to time and really manage my sleep, like be really mindful of sleep hygiene and just kind of having rituals at night, because sometimes my sleep is impacted still. So that's quite frustrating. And with anxiety and things like that, I still get a little bit of that rearing its ugly head. So I do things to manage that by doing breath work, lots of movement at the gym and just getting out in nature as much as I possibly can.
Can you still drink alcohol and coffee?
I am not good with alcohol and coffee. I haven't had coffee now for 8 months. I still have a cup of green tea, but that's probably my limit. I do love coffee though. I love it. I've had a decaf and I have my matcha. Everybody's different. You just need to find out what your triggers are. And with coffee, it just makes me a bit too jittery. And I already have a tendency to kind of be overworking in that way already, quite sort of high anxiety. So coffee, no. Alcohol, I have to be really mindful. Yeah. I'm better when I don't drink. I love it. I miss it. And I'll dabble a little bit when I'm on holiday, but mostly day to day, I don't drink as much.
It's just not worth it.
No, it's just not worth it. You feel rubbish. You get drunk really easily. You sleep terribly. And the next day just feels rough as hell. It's not worth it.
And what would you say to someone who was, say, in their early 40s and looking down the barrel of the menopause experience? What advice would you give?
I always say, be prepared, don't be scared, because I think now there's so much information out there. A lot of younger women are starting to really panic about, oh my God, perimenopause, because you do hear so many awful stories. Yeah. So I think it's just start to kind of just recognize some of the changes that might be happening, even really subtly. Write a food diary, because your stomach and your gut changes quite a lot. Foods you become slightly intolerant to, potentially, not always. So I think just start kind of being mindful of what's happening. Your body is there to giving you these signs and symptoms. You just have to recognize them. So be prepared. Don't fear it. Just check in with yourself. When you're starting to feel a little bit out of control, just start saying no to things. There's a power of saying no is really quite wonderful.
Saying no is amazing. Can you describe your menopause in one word?
Oh God.
It doesn't have to be censored.
Yeah, I know. It would be a rude word. I'm just going to say interesting. It's been an interesting journey, but now I'm through the other side. It's like I'm post-menopausal now. So I'm 53 and I can look back at the last kind of 13 years and it's like, I'll just call it a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind. Okay. It was a whirlwind. Okay. I look back and I'm like, who was that woman? And now I'm like, I just feel just like myself, back to normal again. And I feel great. And, I've kind of just, I'm back to me again.